Hey everyone, welcome to a Friday night edition of Reader Reviews. Friday night for me, probably not Friday night when this gets posted. I have a couple beers from a reader here, a viewer named Rich. He sent me a number of beers, but I have two of them that I'm going to do on camera here tonight. One is a Rye IPA, he calls it Rocco's Rye. It's not that old. He brewed it in end of November and bottled it early December. So really it looks like 2 weeks from brew day to packaging day, and I'm drinking it about a month and a week after that. Another one is a bit older. It's the Cynic Pro Brewers kit from Northern Brewer, which according to this cap goes back to the end of July. So that is 6 months old or so. My cat, get out of here! My cat is chewing on the tripod. You know it's a party when the cat is chewing on the tripod. So, try to do this pretty quickly. I've been sampling these a little bit. Let's go with the Rye IPA. This one is clear. It smells nice, dry hop with Centennial for 2 ounces, and then another 2 ounces. 5 days of that, and then another 2 ounces on later. It does have a good hop aroma. It has a really nice taste as well. Columbus was the bittering hop. Oh, it was a 10-gallon batch, so keep that in mind when I say 2 ounces, 2 ounces. Columbus was bittering Centennial type / Cascade for 30 minutes, Centennial type / Cascade for 10. More of that same, those hops at 7.6% alcohol. Rye 2-row, 6 pounds of rye in a 10-gallon batch. So 3 pounds of rye in a 5-gallon batch is a decent amount. Then some care pills, and then a few different kinds, small amounts of crystals, totaling up to 1 pound of crystal in a 10-gallon batch. So not a ton of crystal for a 5-gallon batch. So the rye, let me see if I can get the rye. Now that I see that, or I'm reminded of that, I wonder if I don't get a little bit of that. I think I probably do. But yeah, there's a little bit of the rye twang that I think that you get. It's clean tasting, which is always the thing that I like to, one thing I always like to focus on. Let's see if I have the yeast. US 05. You know, that's another thing. I haven't talked a lot about dry yeast versus liquid, but I have used dried yeast, and over the years I've come to just prefer the liquid. You know, some people think dried yeast gives you equally as good of a flavor. Excuse me, I tend to feel like I probably wouldn't have guessed that if I wouldn't have known, but I almost feel like liquid gives you a smoother, softer, rounder, cleaner type of a flavor. And yes, you can get any number of strains that are going to give you, you know, edgy flavors, like different Belgian strains, different Weizen strains, things like that. But I feel like liquid is just kind of sort of smoother, and the dry yeast I've found will sometimes give you a little more edgy taste, and I wonder if I'm not getting that in this, although there's also tons of hops too. That's just kind of a personal opinion. If you're happy with the beer that you make with the dried yeast, you definitely can save money. You don't have to make starters, you don't have to aerate. It's a lot easier. You can store it longer. I tend to prefer the liquid. So, Rich, I'm going to go with nicely made beer on the rye. It's actually a pretty good recipe. I don't know if you created it, but it's a nice balanced recipe. There's definitely a malt sweetness, the final gravity. I don't know if it's on here. Oh, 1010. I would have guessed ever so slightly higher, because there is still a malt sweetness and a malt character to the beer, but 1068 down to 1010. Nicely done. The Cynic, let's talk about that. Northern Brewer recipe. This was an extract beer that he did. It has some, he uses the Belgian Ardennes yeast. If he just did the kit and also there's some acidulated malt, and that's one thing I was kind of wondering. There's a couple things going on with this one. You get the Belgian Ardennes on the nose, but it tastes like a Saison, which is what it's supposed to be. Surly Cynic, if you don't know, Surly is from Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis area, and Minnesota here, and they're not widely distributed, but they make a Saison type of a beer. You get the Saison flavor, but I'm getting a twang, which is different than the rye twang. I'm sort of thinking that it has more to do with the fact that maybe this is just getting a little bit older. It's not terrible, but it is something that is sort of distracting, I think, from the flavors, the good flavors that are there. I think it probably just has to do with age. It could possibly have to do with the fact that it's extract. You know, some people think that there's an extract twang. I think there are flavors that you get from extract sometimes that you don't get in all grain. People can debate that, you know, all night over several pints of beer. I think the kit was probably made pretty well, but I think that I'm guessing that a combination of the fact that it's half a year old now, and also possibly the the extract character. I think it's decent. It's okay. It does taste a little bit like Cynic. It definitely tastes like a Saison, but I'm just wondering. There's a little something there. I think that's a little bit funky that maybe it's not supposed to be there. But I did point out the acidulated malt. I'm not sure if that's part of that flavor. It's possible. It's not a character that you get in the actual Cynic, which I am familiar with. But at any rate, these are two of the beers that he sent. I actually have several other ones to taste that I might just take notes and send them to him. But thank you for getting these to me. I hope you enjoyed the beers that I sent back to you. So yeah, a little Friday night reader review. Hope everyone's having a good night. And thanks for watching. See you later.